gentlemen, we are live here in the studios of WIMS. This beautiful music behind us. All right, come on, turn that music down.
You sound so mellow, sneaky.
Our ladies from the Doolin Chamber. Heather Ennis.
November
Hey,
Chamber
everybody,
Corner.
Heather's in the house.
Go ahead.
But ladies and gentlemen, that had a girl. You know her, you love her. Maura Durham in the house. Wow, this is crazy. Rick Federici.
And Mary Anthony and the Doolin Chamber Corner of
Yeah.
November. I really honestly cannot believe it's November.
You were going to say
I'm so
something. It's
excited.
November 1. Do you guys believe it? Heather, we're going to start
It
with you.
is
Do
Rick's
you
birthday
believe
month.
It, it is my birthday month.
It is my husband's birthday today, so big shout
Oh,
out to my
today.
wonderful husband.
What's his name?
Joe Ennis. He's
Okay.
fantastic.
Joe,
So big happy birthday to him too.
Happy birthday, Joe.
It's his birthday today?
Today.
Oh, Joe! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear.
Joe.
Wow, you were both on camera. Facebook Live, you should have seen that. Happy birthday! Everybody, hold on. Let's go to a Ricky shot. To you. All right,
Bravo.
Mary Anthony, you're now on camera. Wave.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Okay, happy birthday. Okay. We have to be serious. And remember, being
Yeah.
the owner, you could kind of do what you want. You could make the program
That's
go as
why-
long as you
that's
want.
why we love it.
And then that's why we have two the most intelligent ladies in our community right here in our backyard. Heather Ennis and, of course, Maura Durham. It is so great to see you two again. How are you? Good?
Miss you guys.
Yeah, it's good to see you. So we do this great soiree, this show.
Yeah.
And we find out so many cool things about our business community, the Doolin Chamber events. It's going to be a good
Well,
one.
yeah, Maura, if you don't mind, can we start with you? I wanted to just ask, it's November. We've been doing this all year long, Chamber Corner once a month. Tell us what your guys, what your idea was to do Chamber Corner and why we love it, and we know our audience loves it for sure. But trying to get the word out about different topics, and what are we talking about today, if you don't mind?
Yeah, so we started the Chamber Corner with the premise of going, there's a lot of stuff that chambers do that is a lot more than the events or what the community sees on the outside, as well as the business community sees. There's a lot of partnerships that are made. There's a lot of different activities that go on behind the scenes to kind of get projects to fruition that people actually do see. And there's a lot of time and effort that goes along with it. So with that, we wanted to start Chamber Corner with you guys to be able to talk about it in a different sense. So most of the time when we're at our events and doing our luncheons and doing our annual meetings and doing the European market, it's for that specific purpose. But this is a time that I get to bring my partners on to the shows, and that we get to discuss really what's going on with them, but then kind of how the chamber feeds into those partnerships. So we're really excited to have Miss Heather Ennis, who also is my predecessor at the Doolin Chamber. Amazing, amazing woman. I always say that she love you. She has very tall, high heels to fill, is what I always say. So she's representing the Northwest Indiana Forum as president and CEO,
Wow.
and they just along with us. So I came and talked about our strategic plan, but they just launched a huge initiative, changing up things with the forum, and they represent so many counties in our area, including the Doolin area. So I wanted to bring her on to talk about those changes.
Heather, good to have you aboard. Great to see you again.
to see you,
Great
Rick.
smile,
Thanks for having
and
me here.
so honored to have you in studio. So how many counties do you guys service?
So we serve 7 counties in Northwest Indiana, Region 1. So that's Lake, Porter, LaPorte, Jasper, Newton, Pulaski, and Stark counties. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's a large, diverse territory, but filled with amazing people and a lot of things that really have great synergies together. And that's what we found out through this planning process, that really we have more in common than we have that separates us. So.
Yeah, can you explain to the WIMS extended family? A lot of folks know, obviously, what you're working with and some of the things that you guys have done and are doing. But can you explain it to the masses about what's going on and a little bit about the forum itself?
Sure. So the forum is the 7-county economic development organization. As I said, we cover the 7 counties of Northwest Indiana, but the 3 things we focused on is being the voice of Northwest Indiana business. So we go out and advocate for the best environment in Northwest Indiana. I'm a registered lobbyist, as is Kay Nelson on our team. So we spend a lot of time at the state level making sure Northwest Indiana's voice is heard. I think oftentimes up here we think we get forgotten about by
Sure.
the folks down in Indy, but we try and make sure that that doesn't happen. And I think more and more frequently now, Northwest Indiana has been speaking more cohesively, and the state's listening. So that's pretty exciting. Then we promote Northwest Indiana as the place to do business. So we go out and market the region. We work with brokers, site selectors, companies that want to locate here, companies that want to expand here, and help them to bring their investments here to Northwest Indiana. And then we stake out and drive bold initiative that otherwise wouldn't get done. So that's where the Ignite the Region plan comes into effect. We last year started talking about how the Northwest Indiana Forum could be more effective and work better with its partners, and kind of ended up realizing that if we needed surgery here in Northwest Indiana, we probably shouldn't perform it on ourselves. I've got a board of 36 members, and they're wonderful business people, but they all have fantastic ideas. But to glean those ideas out and make them more homogenized was a challenge that I didn't want to have to do with people that were paying my salary. And then,
Here.
and then we also realized that there were more than just the forum that's involved in this little game that we play. So we needed to work with partners and other organizations throughout the region. So we started raising funds for the Regional Economic Development Plan last October, and raised all the funds we needed to get it done by the end of January. Brought a company on called TIP out of Austin, Texas. They started in March, and we rolled out the plan in September. So it's been a quick year, full of a lot of activity. We hosted over 50 roundtable meetings and
Wow.
met with about 500 folks and talked to them about what they want to see for Northwest Indiana. We conducted an online survey where the general public had an opportunity to weigh in. So I'm really excited about the outcome, and even more excited about the work that's progressed since
And
then.
it was
So-
cool because Heather also reached out for like the 50 groups that she's discussing about. So it's not only just the groups that she's already working with that are in economic development, professional jobs. We were also putting together young professional committees that were getting together. So they were reaching out to different groups, including our Full Circles, which I think we've talked about on this show, is one of our committees that we put out the invitation to all those young guys to get together. She had a roundtable with just chamber professionals that we all got to sit and talk about the specific small business community, large manufacturing roundtable. It was an amazing way of using her network, and then as well as leaning on the different chambers on their networks too, to be able to pull together some of those people to have going, oh yeah, this person definitely needs to be in that focus group. So it was, that is a lot of opinions to garner all that great, and all those ideas. So it was fun.
Especially to turn all of those great ideas into productive work, because there's
Yes.
so many. That's what I'm thinking. Sounds a little overwhelming, honestly.
Um,
I think, wow, I wouldn't even know where to get started. That's a lot. And then to narrow that, be able to continuously narrow that down to an effective plan, I think is crazy. Can you tell us how closely you work with the chambers on a regular basis?
So yeah, obviously, and the funny thing is that as we're looking at the strategies that have come out of this plan, the reason we picked the organization that we picked is because they firmly believe in an implementation matrix. And so often when we're talking about doing these types of plans, people are like, oh, you're never going to get the funding. You're never going to get it done. It's never going to happen. Oh, and if you do get it done, nobody's ever going to do anything with it. So that drives me crazy.
Yes.
And so this group was so focused on an implementation matrix and the work that comes after the planning process that we knew they were the right fit for us. So we have an implementation matrix and had our first implementation workshop with about 40 folks, and they picked 23 things to move forward in the next 30 days on.
Wow.
So they're not going to get done. This is a 5-year plan.
Sure.
23 things aren't going to get accomplished in the next 30 days. But you've got a group of people that are saying, okay, we're committed to making things happen. And so after our rollout, we had folks that wanted to be engaged in the process. So I've been going out and meeting with them. And what I'm finding is there are so many synergies that happen. I've referred folks out to the chambers so often lately in the last 30 days because I've been meeting with people and talking about, hey, let's figure out how to build a better talent force. Well, as many of you know, probably the way they're doing high school degrees has changed in
Big time.
in this state, and so those changes have a dramatic impact on the way the business community and the K-12 community need to interact. And so, just a case in point, I was meeting with the Hammond Career and Technical Education Group, and we were talking. They were talking about trying to find meaningful internships for kids that need to get degrees. Well, I was like, hey, we need to get you together with the chambers and really talking about the local businesses that could be working. And so just, I mean, the synergies that I'm finding through this plan and how we can tie all the community organizations in together more closely, kind of getting us all rowing in the same direction,
Sure.
has really been exciting. I mean, it is the intent of the work, but it is also a strong byproduct that I'm seeing more and more collaboration as we go. So
I'm going to throw this over then, we'll bounce from Heather Ennis to Maura again. Maura, why is this so important? You ladies obviously have some great synergies here and you guys working together on multiple levels. Why is this so important for the chambers and as we move forward, with the next several years?
Yeah, well, we want to see our business community thrive. So at the end of the day, what Heather was talking about, even with the school system, for example, so I was working with Dr. Bollinger and Brett Martinson and a lot of the administration over at the school, and like Heather was saying, with what they have to accomplish now with school, they have to lean on the chambers and the business community to help with those internships. So they just did an expo that was really well attended, but they're calling us going, hey, we don't have all the ties to all the businesses. Like, obviously we have the student pool and we know how to organize something, but we need your help on this. What I'm seeing, though, too, is that, how Heather was saying, oh, it's in Hammond, there's all these little areas. It's kind of going, I'm starting to see how we're kind of spreading our resources thinner than what I'd like to see, where we can go, hey, this group is trying to do this. This is the same thing as this is this. Can we do something more on a regional aspect too? And that's what Heather's amazing at, because she's meeting with all these people too. So she's starting to see those patterns on like what comes up continuously that we should all be doing. So by working with people like me on the kind of boots on the ground with those business communities and kind of working on our own partnerships with the school, we are able to work together and kind of find what projects make the most sense and the biggest impact.
yeah, so we say so throughout this process, we've learned that we've got some really great pockets of excellence. And so like halfway through this process, I'm like, how do we turn those into practice of excellence across the region? How do we do R&D, or, as I like to say, or rip off and duplicate what's happening over here
Yeah.
and take it and make it happen over here and make it happen on a broader spectrum. So all of these communities have the opportunity to still be their unique selves, but there's practices that are happening. I'm very impressed with the Portage 360 program, and
that's what we're
and
discussing
what they've done, and so that should be a best practice across all of the region. And Center of Workforce Innovation is working to try and figure out how to help other partners do that same thing. But yeah, so how do we take those pockets of excellence and regionalize them and make it a true practice?
It's funny because that theory of duplication, that Ray Kroc theory, works. You know what I'm saying? So, look at what's going on, look what actually works, and then, expand upon that, which I think is absolutely fantastic.
And when we're talking about like Portage, it's only 15-20 minutes away.
Right.
Hammond's only like 20 minutes down the road. Like, at the end of the day, like, we are all so close, and yeah, we're all very different, but at the same time, we all have the same assets at the end of the day. I mean, we all kind of can capitalize on each other's strengths and kind of work together and be able to utilize that. I have manufacturers and businesses in Chesterton or in the Doolin community area that is just as great for the kids that are going to school in the Portage areas, and it's just a reason to keep them all in this area. So
I have to ask you, Heather, with covering so many counties, the challenges and the assets in those communities are very different in some of those locations. Do you find it difficult to, kind of take this idea of, rip off, duplicate, find what works and make it work somewhere else? Do you find that tough in some of these, comparing some like Porter County to Stark County size wise, and even just the businesses that are there? Do you find that a challenge, or do you find that really you just altered due to the size,
Everybody has different assets and everybody has different approaches to things. But the 5 pillars of this plan are infrastructure, marketing and business development, talent attraction, placemaking, and entrepreneurship and innovation. So
Okay.
those are applicable to all of these
Right.
counties.
For sure.
There are things in all of these areas that pertain to that. All of us are trying to attract more talent to our area and create place and create that sense of belonging and that sense of community for the areas that we live in. So the outside world doesn't see us as 7 counties. They see us as one region with a
Right.
connection to a marketplace that's important to them. So our connection to the city of Chicago and a proximity to infrastructure like the Port of Indiana and Lake Michigan and wonderful, beautiful assets like Lake Michigan and the highway infrastructure that we have really make a dramatic difference for all of us. So when we're looking at target industries, there might be food processing and food manufacturers that are up here, but the majority of the raw materials are coming from the other 4 counties. So what does that mean, and how do we tie that in together, and how do we shorten the supply chain for businesses as we're looking at this? And so much of the country's mint is grown right in Stark County. So who needs mint, and what does it get used for, and how do we?
Mojitos. Oh, I'm sorry. You were being so serious.
Sorry, did I say that out loud?
Took me a minute. What?
What is mojitos?
Way too serious for too long.
Quick time out, ladies, if you don't mind. Living the Life, Rick Federighi, Mary Anthony, Heather Ennis, and of course, Maura Durham. By the way, the Instagram picture is my favorite one of the week. You gotta like that Instagram picture of the 2 ladies. We are also up on Facebook Live, so if you guys want to, as we're looking at the show, we're doing the show, please feel free, share it with your friends, and when it's over with, it's always going to be there on WIMS's Facebook and Twitter. So we'll be right back here on Living the Life. Don't you go away with AM 1420, 95.1, and the free TuneIn app. And speaking of the Doolin Chamber,
Join the Doolin Chamber for our hometown holiday celebration in beautiful historic downtown Chesterton. We will have a holiday market, carriage rides, a tree lighting ceremony, and the Twilight Christmas Parade. Santa will also be on hand for the children to visit. For more information, contact the Chamber at 219-926-5513 and follow us on Facebook for more information.
This year's hometown holiday celebration will be on Saturday, November 24th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
CBS News Update.
Patrick's Grill is an independently and locally owned and operated fine dining establishment with a cosmopolitan yet comfortable ambiance. Patrick's provides a comfortable environment, welcoming friends to gather for any occasion, including business. The private banquet room is ideal for business meetings. Meet and dine in style while enjoying lunch or dinner. Patrick's Grill, offering exceptional food, drink, and customer service. For reservations or to book a party, contact Megan Johnson at 219-873-9401 or email megan@patricksgrill.com.
If you want to save a whole lot of money, come on over to Robert Tillish Appliance.
Come on over, people, there's a whole lot of saving going on. We've got the quality that's clean out of sight. When it comes to money, honey, we treat you right. So come on over, people, there's a whole lot of saving going on. Yeah.
At Robert Tillish Appliance, we don't think you should have to spend a whole lot of money to get great Whirlpool appliances and deck out your home in style. That's why we offer a big selection of Whirlpool washers and dryers, Whirlpool dishwashers, in a lot of different styles and colors, and all at prices you'll think are a blast from the past. So if you need a good buy, you just can't go wrong at Robert Tillish Appliance.
So come on over, people, there's a whole lot of saving going on. Yeah.
Robert Tillish Appliance in LaPorte, 1 mile east of Walmart, and in Michigan City, right across from Joy School.
This is AM 1420 WIMS, the talk of the South Shore.
Chesterton's European Market is dressing up for the holidays. Join us in historic downtown Chesterton for this beautiful outdoor market. Get your holiday shopping done early. For more information, contact the Doolin Chamber at 219-926-5513 and follow Chesterton's European Market on Facebook.
Come on out to Chesterton's Mistletoe Market, taking place Saturday, December 1st from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. in downtown Chesterton.
all right, you guys better stop it because now we're back on our Facebook Live feed. Mary Anthony's causing trouble. Heather Rice is going nuts. She's throwing in spin doctor isms. You got Moore over here who's just laughing. I love you guys. I so enjoy their company. I love the show. Living the Life, Rick Federici.
And I'm Mary Anthony.
All right,
and
so
it is a great time.
it
We're
is,
having
always,
a great time,
always,
that's
always.
for sure. Heather, I wanted to know a little bit more about you, though. This is the first time you've joined us on this show. And tell us what got you started and how you got so, I mean, like, over the top. Yeah, you know your stuff
Why was
inside
just
and
born
out,
that way?
but you're very clear on, what you're doing. And how did you get involved?
It's kind of a crazy story. I'm from the area originally.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up here. I went to Chesterton High School, moved away, went to Purdue. Then from Purdue, went to Indianapolis, Connecticut, Indianapolis, Louisville, Cincinnati,
Wow.
and then back here to Northwest Indiana. So my story is an interesting one, and my background was manufacturing, but I moved back here for the wrong guy.
Not the birthday guy. Happy birthday, Joe. Happy birthday. Woo!
And great guy, but just not the right guy for me. But after I got back here, my dad sat down on the couch with me and was like, hey, I love that you're back here in Northwest Indiana. I love that you are here. All parents want their children to move home, but I don't know that this is the right place for you. I don't know that you're going to be able to find the kind of job that you're looking for. I don't know that you're going to find the career path that you're looking for here in Northwest Indiana. I have a 13-year-old son, and I don't ever want to have to say that to him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, surprisingly, same coaches. The job at the Duneland Chamber became available, and my parents called me and said, you have to take this job. Mm-hmm. The Duneland community, it would be great for the community, it'd be great for you. This would be a really amazing way for you to make an impact on the community, and we'll do whatever it takes, even if we have to subsidize your income in order for you to take
Wow.
the job. And I'm like, no, you will not. I'm 30 years old.
You're like, okay, no, I'm kidding. That's a lot of kids today. Okay.
I'm like, no, we'll figure it out. So I was fortunate enough that there were some great people at the Duneland Chamber that thought that I would be a good fit for that job. And so I worked there for 6 years. One of those years, well, actually, probably for about 3 years, I got to hang with Maura. She was on our ambassador committee.
Yeah.
And then I somehow roped her into being employed with the Duneland Chamber. And then the Duneland Chamber was my baby at that point. It was a fantastic, welcoming organization, and had so much fun hanging out with it, and hanging out with all of the folks in the Duneland community. And when I got the offer to go to the forum, I was pretty torn because I really enjoyed my work there, but I couldn't have imagined leaving it in better hands than Maura's lovely and talented, beautiful.
I would love to be. I would
hands.
love to be a part of that staff, just because you guys are so fun, crazy, energized, intelligent. You get it, and you are always out there making a difference and
Heather
just going
did
to the next
amazing.
level.
I mean, I think did you grow it over 100%? Like our membership, I think easily doubled under your helm.
It wasn't just
No, it's
me.
not a
We
big
had
deal.
great people.
It was a team, blah, blah, blah. Heather was awesome. Like, Heather rocked. And you built a great, I kind of, that's kind of a compliment because I'm going to say you built a great team. But it takes a strong leadership to be able to find. I'm learning that. And I'm like, I look up to you knowing that I had a good mentor to look up to. And I think you did an amazing job. And I want to continue doing that for Duneland.
And I was so lucky. I mean, my board was awesome, and they let me have pretty much free reign. I mean, they were somewhat controlling on some things, but if I was like, okay, this was a stupid thing, we're never doing this again. This is a good idea. Let's try this. Hey, what if we do a progressive dinner? And people are like, a progressive what? I'm like, where you go around from place to place, and you go from restaurant to restaurant, and they're like, oh, that sounds like a lot of logistics. That sounds like it would really be tough to work out. But Maura's taken that event and turned it into something even more fun, and
Action Dine style.
Yes.
So I think that it's just taking the great assets that were there and building upon them. It was a very, very fun job. I enjoyed it, and we had just an awesome team. I mean, we would fight like sisters, but at the end of the day, we danced it out. I mean,
And love like
we're still
sisters.
braiding
I was
hair.
just gonna say,
Yeah. I'm curious to know, so you grew up in the area. Was it very different for you as far as taking on the getting the perspective of, not just being a community member, but now dealing with the businesses and their hurdles, struggles, and challenges that you're trying to smooth out and work out on the business side. Was it very different for you? Did it make you look at your own community that you had grown up in a lot different?
So it's so funny. My manufacturing background, I worked with Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 100 companies all across the country. And then I came back here and surprisingly I sold radio advertising, which was a huge paradigm shift for me because I found, I went from people that had $100,000 purchasing order capability to talking to people about buying air at 60 seconds at a time, and where $100 was a big spend for them.
Absolutely right.
So that transition really led me to understand what small business needs are, and then realizing that problems are problems, and the only thing that's different is the zeros on the end. And so if you can help people get to this solution, and if you can connect them to the right people, and there's always the right people, and there's always a good way to get through the problem. I mean, and none of us can do it alone. So if you can be that connector and kind of take that 3,000-foot view of their problem and help them navigate through it, it's pretty similar. So and it's been fun to, whether you're doing it on a store-by-store basis or ArcelorMittal BP,
kind of level.
Steel kind of level. I mean, but truthfully, it is just helping to connect the dots and helping to help people navigate through whatever trouble them.
Do you feel more personally? I'm sorry. Do you feel more personally invested though, just because it is your hometown community in a sense? You know?
Absolutely. I mean, we are invested here. My husband has a business here. We, he builds homes in the area. We have a 13-year-old son. We are very fortunate to be part of this community and to get to see people. It's a blessing and a curse because and I can say for Maura's job particularly, you don't get to go to the grocery store without somebody saying, "Hey, the line for the fireworks was really long." Why'd you run out of tacos? Like whatever.
How about this?
It's true though.
I always say this to folks: always start with a positive, and then if you have something you need to say it in a graceful but respectable way, and always know. And you're so right. You're going out and about, and you're so cool with it. Whether you're at your place of worship, whether you're at the store, whether you're out and about on the street, or being a crazy witch walking through the center of Chesterton.
Only on certain days. Though,
yes.
Not all the time.
Now, I don't know if you guys know this. We've got a few seconds here. We're going to wrap it up. Hatta Girls coming up.
It is.
And I want you to throw that out there. Maura Durham, of course, here on WDYMS. And if you want any and all information about Duneland Chamber, look at our events tab on WDYMSradio.com. There's Hatta Girl. There's the Mistletoe Marketplace, our broadcast with them, and it's always changing. Go for it.
Yep. So we have our Hatta Girl event, which is coming up November 14th. It's a luncheon. It's celebrating women and all the hats that we wear. So love that. We have a great panel of speakers. Very excited. You can call us at the Chamber office to get your tickets, or you can order online. We can be reached at 219-926-5513. Tickets are $30 a piece. And like I said, we have a great panel of women, very inspirational, all different walks of life. Obviously, we are all wearing different hats, so everyone's encouraged to wear a hat. It's very exciting. This is our second year doing it, so very, very excited. And then we have Hometown Holiday coming up on November 24th, which is Small Business Saturday. We're a small business champion in our area, so just really celebrating all of our local business area. We have the market that we started to bring back on that day. Was that just last year? And so the market vendors will be back starting to kind of pre-show some of their Christmas everything, which is exciting. So that will run from 11 to 7. So we do horse and carriage rides at that time. The vendors are going. The retail open houses will be all day. Then we obviously have our tree lighting ceremony,
Santa
at the end. So all very, very exciting. I think we're cutting down that tree this week, hopefully.
Cool.
So
are you doing a Maura live shot of that one?
I will try to.
Let us know when you're doing that.
I will. I know we're just kind of making sure that the weather's good and that all of our
Yeah,
ducks are in a
for
row
sure.
because, you're cutting down a 30-foot big old
Now, is
evergreen
that
in the
going to be
middle
Beth
of...
and the crew cutting the tree down?
Right, yeah.
Beth,
Beth,
you
if
listening?
you didn't know.
In case you weren't aware.
No, I would say we have a great town, all the departments are, all on board, ready to go
Yeah.
and haul this bad boy downtown. And so we're excited about it. And then, Santa will be at the end. And then Santa will be in his house starting that day
Yeah.
every Saturday till Christmas.
Well, I know we're going to have listeners that are going to call or comment that they want to hear more about all that, but
Yep.
because this is
So
such a big
much.
deal, we're having the Duneland Chamber back on the 15th.
Yes, we are.
To do a whole hour based on these holiday events
Yeah.
because you guys have so much going on. So,
Have you been good?
well,
Laura and Heather, I know you guys are angels.
Oh,
so
yes.
We won't even ask
We're not
you
naughty
to-
at all. We are not on the naughty list.
You know, Joe, it is your birthday. You don't even go there. I like my birthday a lot.
blush.
I didn't say anything. You ladies are thinking crazy. I'm just thinking of my birthday spankings. That's all I'm saying, Joe. All right. So, Heather, if folks want to connect with
Yes.
you direct, do you want to throw out
Sure,
a email or
absolutely.
something?
So, our website is www.nwiforum.org. My email address is hennis@nwiforum.org. We want people to be involved in this process. Many hands make light work, and there's something in this plan for everyone to participate in. So I really feel like Northwest Indiana has huge potential, and we need to continue to build on that and continue to be the best version of ourselves. So,
will you be doing any further meetings or speaking on specifically on the Ignite the Region plan that people can attend? Or
yeah, so I feel like I've kind of been on a book signing tour lately.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
plan rolled out on the 13th. So we have our annual meeting coming up the 24th of January, where we'll talk about what's happened since September 13th and the things that have happened to ignite the region. We have a great friend that was talking about it, and she's like, I'm delighted, I'm excited, and I am ignited. So
Yeah. That's a shirt. That's such a cool shirt.
it's cute.
I like that.
So I've been out talking about it. I'll be still out talking about it. As I said, January 24th, we'll have some touch points at our annual meeting, and we're usually we just hold that for our investors, but we're going to open that up to where non-investors can come to it this year, and so we'll be continuing. We've committed to the region that we will report out annually, and the groups that we're working with have committed to report out annually. So next September we'll definitely do another big luncheon where we talk about here's what's happened, here's where we're at, here's the activity that's happened. But there will be ways to engage on our website as well.
We'd
So-
love to have you back next
Absolutely.
year following that. Just to give an update, kind of to say, this is a 5-year plan, and year one, this is what was accomplished, and this is what we're rolling out for the next year. That'd be really good.
Awesome. I'd love to come back
Good to know.
anytime.
Okay.
Awesome. And if you want to get a hold of Maura and, of course, Beth and the Duneland Chamber, Chad and the crew, 219-926-5513, a direct link to them right off of WIMSradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the Facebook Live, share, comment, and connect with these ladies. Thank you for being such supreme parts of our community, both community pillars. You and your teams keep up the fantastic work.
Thanks
you.
so
Thank
much,
you.
guys
Rick.
are awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you for
On
being
behalf
here.
of us all at Gerard Media LLC, Mark Scott, Rick Federici, I'm Rick Federici.
I'm Mary Anthony.
And thanks for living the life right here on WIMS 95.1 FM and AM 1420.